Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we are mapping out what is honestly an absolutely unprecedented transition in modern politics. We're looking at the trajectory of C. Joseph Vijay. This is the incredible story of a man who literally conquered the silver screen as one of India's highest-paid actors, only to walk away from it all and capture the highest political office in Tamil Nadu.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the sheer scale of this political disruption is massive. Think about it. For half a century, Tamil Nadu was locked down tight by a firm duopoly of two major Dravidian parties. These parties represent a very distinct regional and linguistic political identity in southern India. So you really have to ask yourself, how does an action star step out of a fictional cinematic world and completely dismantle a 50-year stronghold? Well, it all starts with the empire he built on screen.
Section 1. Rise of the Cinema Star.
Long before he was a politician, he was Thalapathy, the commander, to literally millions of adoring fans. He made his debut as a leading man way back in 1992, and over the years, Vijay steadily climbed the ranks to become a bona fide action hero. And to really grasp the absolute peak of the cinematic empire he was sitting on, just consider this number, 2 billion rupees. To put that into perspective, that's roughly 21 million US dollars, and that was his reported salary for just a single 2023 film, the greatest of all time. He wasn't some fading star looking for a second act, you know? He was at the absolute zenith of his commercial power. Walking away from that kind of guaranteed astronomical success is highly, highly unusual.
Section 2. Cultivating a political persona.
And this brilliantly illustrates that his transition from actor to politician wasn't just some sudden whim. It was actually a meticulously engineered, multi-decade strategy that completely blurred the lines between the man on the screen and the man on the street. His on-screen persona, Thalapathy, frequently took on systemic corruption and societal injustice. Then, off-screen, he establishes his political party, the TVK, positioning it as a secular, egalitarian alternative to the ruling establishment. It's wild that fiction effectively served as a blueprint for his reality.
In massive 2010s blockbuster films like Kathi and Sarkar, he consistently played this angry protagonist fighting for the common man. What's super fascinating here is that these films frequently brought him into direct, real-world conflict with the state's ruling political establishment at the time. This purposefully blurred the line between celebrity and public servant in a way that primed his audience for years. The cinematic narratives were already out there doing the heavy lifting for his future political campaigning.
Let's move to and see how this built, because this strategy was tested over a considerable amount of time. Back in 2009, he founded his fan club, the VMI, and immediately started engaging in extensive philanthropic work across the state. Then jumped to 2022, and members of this very fan club contested in local elections and actually won 115 seats. This wasn't just a fan club anymore. It was a shadow political infrastructure quietly building over 17 years, leading directly to his official party launch in 2024 and his swearing in by 2026.
Section 3. The Pivot to Real Politics.
So with the groundwork fully laid out and the infrastructure tested in those local elections, the fictional hero officially steps into the real-world arena. In February 2024, Vijay sent an absolute shockwave through India by announcing his absolute retirement from cinema. He had one final film lined up, but he made it crystal clear he was leaving behind a multi-billion rupee industry to dedicate himself entirely to public service. It was a massive gamble for sure, but it strongly signaled to the electorate that his political intentions were entirely serious.
The primary vehicle for this whole movement was the Tamil Vetri Kazhagam, or TVK, founded in 2024. Vijay strategically positioned the TVK as a secular and egalitarian alternative, directly challenging those deeply entrenched Dravidian parties that had just traded power back and forth for decades. It was a platform explicitly designed to appeal to voters who were looking for a complete break from the established bureaucratic order.
Section 4. Trials on the Campaign Trail.
So, the crucial point is that stepping into the political ring brought severe institutional and legal friction. It wasn't an easy path. Going back to 2015, and again in 2020, his premises were actually subjected to income tax raids, leading to ongoing litigations and penalties. Then, in September 2025, a truly horrifying tragedy occurred. A crowd crush at his Karur rally tragically resulted in 41 deaths.
This led to multiple rounds of CBI questioning in early 2026 regarding his handling of the event. Even after the election itself, the state governor initially questioned his party's majority claims, which delayed his invitation to form a government. The institutional pushback was intense from multiple directions.
Section 5. Breaking the 50-year duopoly. 108. That is the exact number of seats the TVK secured in the 2026 Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly election. In their very first outing, they emerged as the single largest party in the assembly. Just think about that for a second. In one single election cycle, Vijay's party shattered the half-century-long stronghold of the DMK and the AIADMK.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is looking at the sheer dominance at the local level. Vijay actually contested and won 2 different constituencies. In Perambura, for example, he secured nearly 59% of the vote, totally defeating the ruling DMK candidate who only managed around 32%. This kind of margin proves that his individual draw absolutely translated straight from the box office directly to the voting booth.
The final procedural days were just a total whirlwind of political maneuvering. After securing those 108 legislative seats, the TVK had to consolidate outside support to form a coalition government. They did this by drawing in allied parties, like the Congress and left parties who had broken away from previous alliances. Despite that initial hesitation from the governor we mentioned earlier, Vijay presented a formal claim of majority and was officially sworn in as the 9th Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu on May 10, 2026.
So what does this all mean? Vijay executed a brilliant 17-year strategy to transition from a film idol to holding the highest seat of political power in the state. He captured the box office, and he decisively captured the ballot box. But as he steps into the uncompromising, day-to-day machinery of state administration, we are left with a massive, critical question from modern democracy. Can cinematic appeal and populist promises actually survive the complex, gritty reality of governing? Only time will tell. Thank you so much for joining me on today's Explainer.